Hello, folks. Let's wait for a few more minutes and other people can also join.
Hello, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes, Pratik, we can hear you. I think we should start the session. People could come and go.
So let's start with Yenna Tech. As I was saying, the team Yenna Tech started sometime in the year 2020, September of 2020, when we found out that land digitization wasn't being done right. We noticed that be it any physical business, land always exists as an underlying asset, and that creates the needs of mortgage. Whereas every physical businesses have problems, while the technology is changing the world and many industries and other things are getting left out, we notice that farm industry itself has a lot of problems because one, they cannot set up businesses like other industries or other businesses. They have to go to a third party to sell their produce, and they do not have the right means to market themselves. If we compare to India, our farm movement was very nice sometime in the year 1930s. It became much nicer in 1960 when we got independence. But if you look at the current India today, farmers would be selling their produce in this fashion. It's sad, but it's true. They do not have the right means to market their produce, as well as the produce that they get out are not as per the guidelines which are required by the industries. Hence, they have to sell it outwards. The dark side of this is just between the year 1995 and 2020, there were about a quarter million suicides within the farm families, and the number is rising. We don't hear about it because it's something that is camouflaged with corporate success stories. So, what do we propose? A marketplace that helps farm owners and related businesses to raise investment for chosen agricultural crops with assured buyers through a process called digital land offerings. So this is where Yenna Tech was when we joined the IOTA Foundation. We were a marketplace which were helping farm industries or other businesses within the space create their own land tokens. What would be the underlying magic of this space? That would be origin tracing of every product, because we list clients in a certain fashion that users get to know from where the product is coming. Every unit of land is clubbed with a fractional value of business for enhanced liquidity. So what we mean by this? What we mean here is every piece of land will have some asset overlying on top of it. Could be a plant, could be a construction, or could be a car. And we clubbing this to a unit of land would give us the perfect, or let's say, commodity which we need to help or raise capital. Post that, we would also give them digital identities as well as matchmaking with buyers, sellers, and volunteers to primarily ensure that they have the right support. So, how do we acquire the market? How do we go ahead and help these farmers while they do not have the right means of marketing their produce or finding the right raw materials and suppliers? Our stage one would involve digitization, tokenization, and community fundraise for these related businesses before we go to the farm industries. Primarily because we need these related factories, we need food and beverages units, fertilizer units, and storage spaces, primarily to ensure that we are getting out the right business opportunities for these farmers. Stage two would involve matchmaking and getting advisory as well as the volunteers to ensure that these farmers are benefited and have the right opportunities for them. Stage three would be educating these farmers about their opportunities and taxation benefits, because they don't really have much idea about it in the Indian space, more of in the European space. They are in a better situation. They know about their taxation issues, but they are not aware about their food cycle. One good example would be the situation in Netherlands right now. Matchmaking with buyers, suppliers, and volunteers and advisors happens contrary or in parallel while we are pushing them for fundraise within the community. This gives a complete picture of how investors are going to get returns after every harvest. Whereas over a few years of time or after a few seasons, farmers have the ability to buy back. Our business model is very simple. Actually, this is in two pieces. Yenna Tech charges 2% success fees on investment and 5% on the yearly dividends that are sent out to investors, whereas 30% net income of Yenna Tech is used as a traction multiplier to help the poorer communities and build further. If you see on the right side, we have tokenomics. This tokenomics actually belongs to Yenna Foundation, a non-profit which we are forming with the NFT drop. The funds from the drop will be used to secure the technology, tools, and licensing that businesses like Yenna Tech leverage from a non-profit foundation. We are doing so primarily because we do not want this technology or tool to be becoming a menace for the society. We want to leverage it to everybody for a fixed passive cost, which makes it beneficial for everyone. If you look at our accomplishments to date, we are DPIIT certified by Indian government. We have received a 100K of Exos grant from OpenXO community. This is the Silicon Valley based startup. Still not yet to be live, but they have about 18,000 members, about 500 Fortune companies, and related businesses who are associated with them in working on these methodologies. It's funny that they work on the same thing, or in the same way. Entitled Arts is our design and multimedia partner. Arvind is the co-founder for this Yenna Tech and the founder of Entitled Arts, and he's been taking care of all the design and multimedia for us. You could always reach out to him for more help on this. Blockchain Lawyer is a law firm in India. They have ensured or made sure out of petitions that crypto trading was legalized in India. They are good consultants. Alvicus from Switzerland is our risk advisor. Inventia is the support team from UK, primarily helping us map with the Innovate UK and mapping the UK value chain. We are still looking for folks from the UK region who would help us expand or get started with this space. And we are going ahead with the EU side with the help of IOTA Foundation. India Accelerator is the best accelerator program that is there in India. And IOTA and Assembly is something that we know. Yenna Tech would be first launching on Shimmer network and then follow on by Assembly. Swan Infrastructure is a mining development firm in India. They are consultants to one of the biggest public sector mining firm, and they would be collaborating with us sometime in future. They are also our investors. Sampo Accelerator is from Finland. They helped us map the agriculture value chain and other KPIs within the Finland space. And lastly, Zebras Unite, a member-led cooperative where everybody is the owner, and it's a B2B space where businesses come together to solve their needs. This would be our winning team. Arvind is my co-founder. Manuel is my risk advisor. Varun is founder of Blockchain Lawyer, who ensures all the legal needs for us. We are also advised by the IXAR group, ME group, and the CMS law firm over time just to ensure that our legal pipeline in UK, India, and EU is sorted out. We would start with EU, get trusted results, and then approach the FC and SEBI in UK and India respectively. Prati is my R&D specialist. She advises me on all the competitors that exist in the market, and we ensure that our strategy or market analysis is going fast as well. Alok is my traditional DevOps, whereas Trilochna is my blockchain architect, as well as a lead. On the advisor side, we have Kent Langley. He helps us with methodologies and as well as different corporate structures that are required in building such a system. Rajan Malik is our director for regulatory advocacy from Navi Technologies. Suresh Kandimela is consultant to Western Coalfields. Munish Bhatia is co-founder of India Accelerator INGs, whereas Dr. Poonam Sharma is my mindset coach, or from Amity University. Timeline-wise, we have already completed the phase 1 of our product. MVP is complete. Even the product is complete with the help of our team. We are now testing with X teams and building it on Shimmer. Our next task would be using native Shimmer tokens to ensure that the Yenna tokens or Yenna marketplace tokens comes out right. Q1 task of product calibration, smart contracts, and legal audit is in process. Smart contract audits isn't done, but legal audits has a pipeline and we are raising funds from the NFT drop for it. You'll be targeting mid-size and small-size businesses, as well as you would narrow down to which particular crops we will be using. Going further, we would scale in different countries within the EU by having members within the foundation who would want to scale in different industries, including farm. And that's how we would like to go about it. Any questions, guys? Or would you guys like to see something more? I like it if this is a little more interactive. It becomes more fun when you're asking more questions and delving into certain topics.
What is with this 1% transaction fee in India for cryptocurrencies? Isn't there like a new law that every cryptocurrency transaction has 1% fee now in India?
So in India, we are launching this product out of EU and keeping our trading company out of Malta for this particular reason, because there is a 1% fee for trading as well as a 30% tax on investments or gains. Now, how do we get bypass that? There is a foreign direct investment route where we could create escrow accounts with banks, primarily to take investments in the agriculture sector. That makes all investments tax-free, whereas the Malta trading company ensures that we don't pay for the trading 1%, but we are all subjected to the Maltese tax.
And that's a solid legal framework. You won't have problems with the Indian government doing this.
Oh yes, definitely. In fact, if you check all the top 100 billionaire companies in India, 82 of them are set up outside, in places like Singapore, Germany, Malta, US.
Okay, good.
Can you talk a little bit more about the matchmaking process?
So the matchmaking process is the key to this business. We have found out two particular traditional businesses, and what they really do is they are associating with the bank and they take over the warehousing facility or the storage facility or a factory outlet in a partial ownership, and then go ahead and give out loans to these farmers. This is like offline commodity that happens in real world. Now, what farmers do is they take small pieces of loans, cash or funds that they need from these folks, get into raising their crops, and then they have to sell it back to the same people. And that's how it is, let's say, close-knitly regulated by some folks in the ecosystem, which puts us in a fashion that we have no track of how much is the supply available and what's the demand. Whereas what Yenna Tech is trying to do is get both these parties raise funds from the communities for their processes, and that way they are more independent in doing things. Of course, the matchmaking still exists, but they wouldn't be lending money to each other, which is more of a barrier for them. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you cut off a little bit in the end, but so you said there will be.
Okay, let me go ahead and repeat that one. So I was saying that with Yenna Tech, definitely the matchmaking proposition which exists in a real day world or in current scenario will still exist. It's not something new that we are proposing. However, an add-on condition to this would be that with the matchmaking, the factory owners or the warehousing owners are used to giving out small loans to these farmers. And that's how they have the whole mortgage or local mortgage system that exists. In Europe, banks easily let out loans for 2 to 3% of mortgage, where the farmers would be taking small amount of loans, but they would be mortgaging their whole asset. Compared to Yenna, we would be tokenizing a unit of land. Farmers would hold their ownership and raise funds as required to go ahead and raise crops and market their produce. That way, we get freedom from, let's say, tyranny of factory owners or warehousing units and stuff like that, or storage centers.
Okay, thank you.
Has anyone here wants to see how would the regulatory process, or how does Yenna try to create land tokens or verify them? I was asking if anyone wants to see a process of how lands are digitized or how they are verified.
Yes, I would like to see an example.
A question to your office in Delaware. Do you have anyone working there? Because looking in Google Maps at it, it looks like just a hospital.
Well, that's just a e-office, right? Because we kind of have to, set up in multiple regions to check out which regulatory framework was more feasible. So we started in 2022 in UK, then went to US to make sure, or did some acceleration programs there, and tried our luck, but came to a conclusion that EU would be the best framework to begin with. We do have offices, but the best way would be to find folks within the region who are interested in setting their own ventures or starting those.
Okay. How's your time framework? When do you like NFTs are coming quite soon, and how's the other dates? Like when do you plan to give the first loan to a farmer, or that the farmer digitizes land?
At this point, NFT drop should be able to cover us somewhere between 140 to 180K. This helps us cover land digitization regulation within the Malta space, as well as cover regulation for our marketplace within Yenna token. Once we go ahead for a security token offering for Yenna token, we would have enough funds within our network to be able to cover regulatory for different regions. So let's say from 6 months from now, we would list our first client within the EU space. We have about 20 plus interested folks within the Discord and outside. And then we would go ahead about trying this in different regions, because you would have the fund feasibility plans from that.
20 farmers who are interested, or what do you mean 20 or 20 investors?
We do have 20 plus farmers who are interested within the EU region list with us. Awesome. So here, when we try to sign up, we would see multiple options that somebody can go ahead with. The process is very simple. Somebody would just fill their name, password details, invest in an asset, or raise funds for your asset. This is where the smart contract gets kicked off. Even we wouldn't need to create an account, because devs are actually working right now with the exchange. If you could click on the raise funds, you have that now. So here you would see that our system takes more information: name of the land, owner's name, category of land, whether it's agricultural land, forest land, factory, warehouse, and stuff like that, its size, zip code, country, expected valuation, and funds required. Here, the land size would actually kick off the smart contract, and they would create equivalent number of tokens that they need. This could be in terms of acres, square feet, inches, or centimeter, basically standard metrics of measurement, which we could be using here to help them create their own tokens. Entitled, let's go ahead and show them the admin sign-in portal.
So here we have 4 different stages of verification along with different metrics. If you see from the left-hand side, we start with total lands, total liquidated lands. Oh, that's the land board, but in the land board we see total lands, total liquidated lands, its value. Then the 4 stages of verification, that is fresh sign-up, eligibility, securitization, and custodian. In each phase, we have different type of folks getting associated, experts and non-experts, to make sure that the correct form of data is being collected and then it's being processed. If we click on a random field of fresh sign-up, it could be somewhere down if you scroll. Yeah, there it is. So we have all the information that we take from them from the form. That is name, owner's name, category, valuation, funds that they're asking for, size, age, and followed by more information, just to ensure that the lead is legit and we're not giving off sophisticated work to folks that does not exist. The next stage would be eligibility phase, where after we have collected all this information, entitled please close on this one and
So at each stage, we have different verification where we take images, certain documents for checklist, like memorandum of association, incorporate certificates, shareholdings, owners identification, tax identification, loan documents, etc. All the information that we need beforehand is on the left, whereas what we do further ahead comes on the right. That's how we have set it up. When you submit this, again, MetaMask would kind of pop up and you would go to the next phase of verification, just like any blockchain or block DAC, like IOTA. Once the transaction or the message is being passed on to the chain, it cannot be reversed. Next phase would be securitize, actually, where the valuations of land and that of the overlying business that was created in the previous workflow with the help of lawyers and bankers would then be passed on to these securitization broker dealers, and they would go ahead and give us the following values, like total land units, minimum number of land units to be sold, total maximum of them per price, what are the returns, because of the matchmaking we will have a tentative returns that investors will be getting, its valuation, age, how much they are liquidating, and certain overview about the business, followed by certain term sheets to make sure how does the exit of land really happen. If the landowner wants to exit at a later stage, how many tokens does he need to own? Or if he's reselling it to another person, then who owns the ownership and how does that go ahead with the land registry? How much cooperation you would need from the first landowner, and then some insights about the place. Why do we do such a thing with all these terms? It's because this helps us map the undue inflation that we see in the market. Once a land is being listed on with us, it would have various set of values but from the point A of sale from person A to person B, all the small transactions would not actually give a valuation happening. Going further, the next stage of verification or getting the land onboarded would be custodial phase. Here, the main job is the agreements of the securitization, escrow agreements of securing the land certificate in a vault, and other things that we have that will be coming off from entitled side primarily. For all the documentation that we have, we would be creating a deck, market analysis, financial summaries, case studies, like refurbishing them in the right fashion and putting it out here so that investors can have a look at them before they make a purchase. And this concludes the whole 4 stages of verification, and a client will go to an ongoing scenario. So if you see, once all the stages of verification is completed, it moves to an upcoming scenario where everybody gets a notification about the land being listed. There would be a 10 days time where investors and other members can ask questions about a particular land or tokens that are being listed out. And then from the admin side, we just have to select it and change it to ongoing, and it's available for sale for everybody. Whereas if entitled can click on the marketplace, we can also show you. So this is a railway land that we have just put ongoing. Arvind, if you can click on the market, you should be able to see a railway land. Hold on, please. Yeah, that's there. So here we would have a type of business, an image, certain overview description, all the fields that were supposed to be mentioned earlier, like price of the token, available number of tokens for sale, how much does the farmer own in total, what are the returns, what is the age of it, area valuation as such. And going down, you would also have information about map, certain insights and terms that we were creating earlier, and these documents of references that I spoke of. We have already tested a confirmed transaction on the ETH machine or the EVM machine. However, we are more IOTA driven, and we would like to wait it out for 2 more months before the Shimmer network is out, and then we list it on. Because we also have time to cover regulatory until the process. It's a happy go situation. Oh, here we would be involved in fiat and crypto payments, whereas fiat would be more of a simplex payment gateway, which we are trying to include at this point. It would be mainly crypto that we use from the beginning, and we'll start with Neota token, followed by Exos and Near. These are the two communities which are willing to give us grants after grants for primarily building bridges with them. Would also be made open source with the other communities. Well, I rest my case. Any very quick questions? I'm sure you'll have a lot more now. Benji, Hightower, Sage Lev, who else do we have here? Nitin. Any questions, guys? Or is it super clear? Or did we do a lot of good work?
Pratik, can you talk about the NFT drop or the NFT sale that we are doing?
Sure. We talked about the NFT sale. Maybe I would like to.
Like the stages you are talking about, right? So if you can explain why anyone should buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what are the benefits so that everyone could be clear about it.
Sure.
Thank
Let me see if I can just the white paper itself, because that would be much more simplest. Is primarily about agricultural businesses, and our thought was that if it uses a service from a member-led foundation, then it would be much more secure and seamless. However, the foundation didn't exist, and we think that we would need a community of folks or founders, entrepreneurs, accelerator program owners, and people who lead SMEs in different factories, and like basically stakeholders or the people with asset under management who are willing to take ownership within their regions and get into land tokenization. And that's the whole idea of these NFTs, and thus the foundation that would be formed using the funds of these NFTs and governing the regulation. So our technology is something that we started in 2020, as I mentioned, and we finished it sometime early this year. Whereas our next top task was the community and as well as the regulator. So we thought that it would be best that instead of going to big VC funds where this technology doesn't remain anybody's, we would rather want to go out to the community to raise these funds and create a stronger community, a richer community which is able to not just invest within businesses but also take actions within their local communities. How do we do that? That could be done by just buying a common NFT pass that comes for 100 Neota, as mentioned here. The foundation membership has 5 different levels. If you hold the exclusive membership status for 90 days, it will turn into, if you hold a common membership status for 90 days, it will actually turn into an exclusive membership. And it will give you the following rewards like 100,000 Yenna tokens and a referral profit on share for the clients that you refer. Whereas if you acquire more of these NFTs, which is actually possible to do at this time, because of course it's a pilot batch, less number of folks who actually know about what's happening. That means more members who are here could actually be legends. All you have to do is acquire 5 of these passes. Each one of them would be 100 Neota.
Sorry, Pratik, to interrupt, but we don't see your screen.
Oh, it just came and went because I turned it off. Until then, it was just trying to make all the technology. Got to be tested several times. It's perfect. Let's try this. Screen share again. Is my new screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. So guys, this is what I was talking about so far. I was actually doing this screen talking about when the foundation, Yenny blocks like the service that we're coming up with the members. Common NFT pass that actually comes from 100 Neota and the exclusive membership status that evolves after 90 days. Why 90 days? Because this is the time that you need to cover regulatory. You already have the pipeline for land digitization as well as the marketplace token. You would be requiring somewhere between 140 to 150 days of funds to get this process done. If you hold more of these common NFT passes, you could get the next level, that is uncommon, where these names are they do sound like something very similar to what we have been listening, but the main idea of this was to enable these members to be able to create their local communities. Now, members will receive training for this. This whole process or digitization or service would be called Yenna blocks rather. And at an early stage, you have chance of referring vineyards, livestock producers, poultry dairy farms, producers of grains, vegetables, fruit, sugar, anything that you find within your local community and the farmers that you want to help out. And Yenna Tech would actually look into it or take up the process for it. Once the client has expressed interest, members will be able to hand over this to the core Yenna blocks team, who takes care of the core processes that I mentioned before digitization. So it's not something that you would get into, but you would actually converge with or communicate with clients within your region and bring them on board. For which members of different categories would be earning profit share from 1 to 9% on the profits that they make, or the Yenna Tech, or businesses like others who join the foundation. Because foundation is a perfect setup for businesses to gain clients, gain tools, gain regulatory. Whereas rare, epic, and legendary members have voting rights within Yenna Foundation, they would be voting on how many projects should be getting involved, what level of grant should be given to them, whether a proposition is fit enough as a win-win proposition to be accepted as a Yenna Foundation project, and stuff like that. Whereas legendary members will have the exclusive right of proposing these projects like I'm doing right now. Several examples of some could be like real estate foreclosures, affordable housing, rental solutions, hospitality, mineral ore and mining, energy, or universities and schools. Some good examples of land digitization that could be seen. I urge members to look into it and see how they can leverage their skill sets and make some change. We come to the 12-week training program afterwards, whereas in this 12-week training program, we would be requiring you to join us for a 90-minute session once a week, so that we talk to you about different things. How did we understand on what a good system would be like for the first 6 weeks, and what are our expectations in terms of how we should be negotiating or talking to each other or communicating with each other, an open book kind of a scenario. Whereas we also have certain case studies that gives a perfect example of how this is being done. Before I go to the training module case studies, I would like to give you a brief about tokenomics. We have a total supply of 300 billion tokens, which has been divided into 6 buckets, which is private sale, public sale, treasury, team, NFT members, and the ecosystem incentives. Whereas you see there that private sale has 5%, public sale has 10%, NFT drop or NFT members hold 5% of the tokenomics, whereas treasury holds 50% of it, team holds 20%, and the ecosystem incentives hold another 10%. Now the question is how it's being used, or how it's being allocated. The vesting period of 5 years for the team with a 20% cliff each year, meaning even when the security token offering or launch is happening, founders actually don't even have, or the team don't have their tokens to spend. Whereas treasury holds 40% of its all allocation for the projects that would be from Yenna Foundation, meaning Yenna Tech would actually take grants from Yenna Foundation for tokens that they need for local communities, and not from the whole tokenomics to itself. Even that initiative is something a part of the foundation that we want to target the poorer communities and underprivileged communities, making sure that we find a person that is interested in learning about blockchain, digitization, tokenomics, and then giving them certain rewards, somewhere between 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3,000 USD worth of rewards at least, so that we are marketing it in the right fashion and also growing our space within communities where blockchain economy is not there, but creating local communities that add value. Community growth is an aspect that we haven't decided yet, where we would be spending it, but this 38% is again for us to decide whether you're using for fundraise, marketing activities, or something else, or regulatory for different regions. Whereas NFT members have their allocation divided for 5 equal years with 3 billion Yenna token allocation for each year, meaning these 6,000 members who would be buying these NFTs, or 1,200 members who hold 5 each to be legends, would have a token allocation of 3 billion tokens, where for each NFT they receive 100k tokens, and the remaining 2.4 billion tokens is remunerated to them on a quarterly basis for their participation. Whereas the launchpad or security token offering at 6 months has the 6% supply of the marketplace, where the private sale and the NFT membership tokens are allocated within the structure, meaning all the investors of the NFTs as well as the private investors who are there within our system would get a partial exit, primarily to ensure that they are making money, or get an option to make an exit. They could also stake it for further rewards. Whereas the fifth part would be central exchange listings, where folks who have actually staked their tokens would get rewards from them. Training wise, we have 12 different weeks of program, where at week 1 we talk about introducing ourselves, our massive transformation purpose. We all have tested it, why we are so sure about it, and what are the 5 whys that everybody should be asking themselves for this process and why they should be doing it. Member orientation, basically I expect all members to have that transformation purpose. It's something that we all relate to, something that we want to see the change within, and that is, it's best to find folks who are interested in the same cause and keep building further. That's how Yenna has been able to keep on going without any hiccups, because it's social capital that moves us further. Week 3 would be about mutual expectations, open collaborations, to setting up team directories. Week 4, week 5, week 6 is basically about understanding why crypto industry is taking up so fast and what are their ways that helps them penetrate the market. What are the values, vision, mission that we should be adapting from it, what we should be leaving behind, and using social media as an effective tool to start doing advocacy while we close deals with us, where we help you understand how to analyze a potential space, how to build analysis or hypothesis around it, expanding their researches or analyzing their challenges or roadblocks while expanding the research, having expert lawyers to help you with the deal flow structure that is required to be proposed to these clients, and then pushing them to the community or core team of Yenna Foundation to cover the regulatory bit. And that's how we close deals. As we close deal with that 12 week, you would be entitled to get your profit share as we complete our race with these guys. Whereas case studies wise, let's look at 2 farms. One, a simple farm, and a complicated structure. That way we'll understand how we are getting the value for each business. This olive farm is of 5 hectares. They're growing organic olives, and each hectare is valued at 31,000 euros. And because this farmland after every harvest comes down to the same value as the land, the value of each token of land will be 31,000 euros. And they can actually sell 49% of it at an early stage, because we wouldn't trust them for more. However, over a longer trade relationship, we might allow them to go for more than 49%, only in cases who have paid good dividends back to investors and are following our guidelines thoroughly. Whereas this larger wine producer only gives, too many assets that are involved in this valuation. Too many assets combined gives the number of land tokens and the value of land. In the end, we have value of each land token with the formula that we present. But that's how it happens offline, and all lands are digitized, securitized, keep their land documents in a vault and then listed out in the foundation space. For their own businesses that they're setting up as legends, whichever suits them well. Lot less people. I guess it has gone too long as well. People have other calls.
Yep, Pratik.
Parvin, do you have anything more to add?
No, I don't have much to add, but the only thing I would like to conclude is we are here to help the farmers, and we want to make farmers to be as happy as we are. Just like whenever we need a personal loan, we just apply through our mobile phone and we get the funds. We want farmers to be in the same place with the help of their land tokenization. That's our extreme goal. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. And we would try to have this session more often so that more people can understand what we are doing here. And let's grow the community and make everybody understand about what Yenna is for. Abhinav, you had anything?
Yes, I had a question.
Sure.
I just wanted to know that, see, this is technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know that if we are targeting the farmers,
Okay.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
so the major chunk of our farmers is in the rural area
Yes.
and they are aloof from the technology.
Yes.
So just wanted to know exactly that how we can get in touch with all these people who are in the rural areas.
Okay. So what we are gonna do in future is, as we have built up our regulations, once we are done with the regulations, our tech will be outside, and then we'll start working on the ground level. Now Pratik is working on the ground level, and he's talking to many farmers. He is talking to many people, those who provide seeds, procurer, and sellers in the market. Okay, what is happening right now is the major thing: farmers are going to banks to raise money, and whatever the farmers are trying right now is depending on the government valuation. They have been given passbooks for their land. Consider 1 acre of land is costing 1 lakh, or let's consider in a market value it's 50 lakhs, but the government value will be around 5 lakhs. And out of 5 lakhs, bank gives them 80% of their valuation. Okay, that would come around like 4 lakhs. And for 4 lakhs, if they are not able to pay back, bank acquires their land. This is not right. This is what Yenna feels. What we are doing here is we are providing 49% of the market valuation. So if the land valuation is 1 crore, we will be providing them 49%. So it will be 49 lakhs. Along with that, we will also help them. We will also bring the procurers, those from where the farmers are buying seeds, and we will help them with their soil quality. We'll help them with the technologies, and we will also help them sell their product in the market in a right value, not to the people those from there who are like in the market from the long time and trying to put farmers down. Because consider like we buy 1 kg of mango for 150 rupees, but farmers only get 25 rupees. Major earning in the market is the person who gives them seeds and buy back their mangoes. He will be earning 100 rupees per kg because he is the person who is taking risk giving farmer seeds. So we don't want these middle people here. We are trying to bring a change in the market. And as the community grows, we will have multiple people, those who are from outside India, those who want to buy mangoes, we will also help them. We will also help farmer to export mangoes. That's what we are trying to do here. Consider Navi app, right? We easily get personal loans directly, right? So what we do, we just do one-time registration, and whenever in future you need a loan, you just go there, apply for 1 lakh. They will check your CIBIL score again and give back, deposit the amount to your bank account. The same way Yenna is trying to do for farmers. They just have to do land tokenization for once. Whatever the documentation and everything, will use custodian as a bank, and documentations will be registered with the bank. So whatever the registered documents will be always with the bank until the land is tokenized. And farmer has the strength in their hand to raise money until 49% of their land tokenized value. So today they can sell 1,000 tokens for 1 lakh. Tomorrow they can buy it back in that fashion. We want to make it very easy. So we will be struggling. I know we will be struggling just like the PayPal and all people have done. First, we'll have to run behind them, and slowly they will run behind us. This is what we are assuring about.
Okay.
Yeah, and the employment kind of thing, we are also talking to few government people. We are trying to reach financial minister as well. So what we have proposed is, if we are getting any government help, depending on the Jilla Parishad, what we call, we have like in Telangana and all over India, if we see, we'll be needing 5,22,800 people to run the show on a ground
So,
level.
okay, we can discuss about this thing, offline.
Mhm.
Okay, about the government support and all.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was the general thing that I wanted to know, because as I told you, the maximum 80% of the agro industry, the farmers are in the rural area. And as
Yes.
you said that buying the seeds and everything,
Mhm.
it is a lot of,
Efforts.
as you said, there are Zilla Parishads,
Mhm.
and there are many such institutional bodies
Mhm.
wherein all these farmers have to go through.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the only thing I wanted to know.
Yeah.
And yes, definitely we can discuss about this offline, in regards to the government and all. Yeah.
Great. We have very less people. If anybody have any question, they can ask, or we can conclude. Okay then. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Have a
Cheers.
good day, guys. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.